Let me ask you something. You brought it up getting older. Now, you're a little older. Is there something you would have done differently as a young man that would help you out when you're older?
Will you listen to the answer?
I will. I would. Man, I asked this to...
I asked you a question. Your mouth is shut.
Okay,
That's
I'll
why you
listen to
got
the
2
answer.
ears.
I have to take off there.
All right, we'll see you.
Hopefully next time.
All right.
I developed a pattern of life when I was a boy. I was an orphan at 4. Okay? I was in 5 orphanages. I graduated Boy Scout in Nebraska in 1944. So it's been an ass-kicking contest for me since I was born. Nevertheless, the beautiful part of that is that you have to learn how to look after yourself. So through trial and experience, the first thing I learned, I stumbled into a church after I was raped and beaten at 5 years of age out of the orphanage. No, I just stumbled into the church.
Sure.
I don't know what a church is. And I sat there, and when I was there, it was in May, it was raining, it was cold, it was terrible. And when I came out, it was sunshine. And that spiritual thing stuck with me because every orphanage I was in was a Catholic orphanage. You don't see them today. So the spiritual aspect is something I nurtured. The physical aspect, tennis, golf, and the intellectual aspect, I got my master's, 12 hours from a doctorate, okay? And every day, even now at my age, I have a regular routine, unless I have an accident like this. I go to Mass at 8 o'clock in the morning, takes care of the spiritual. I go to the library about 10 o'clock in the morning, takes care of the intellectual. I go to the golf course when the weather is proper, every day after the library, chip, putt, and if I feel like it, play 9 holes. So you see, you're keeping your tune even though you're older. Because when I was younger, I was going to university. At one time I had a business downtown called Rivers and Marina.
Okay.
And we dealt with sailboats. Now I never knew what the hell that was all about.
Okay.
But I got into it and I was broke and I invested in it. And it worked. Because the reason it worked is I had to learn. So when you're learning, that's stimulating. And if you're handling the process properly, the first thing is what? If you're in business. What's the first thing?
Profit.
What?
You got to profit.
What?
You have to profit.
I can't hear you.
He has to
Oh, I'm
profit.
sorry. You have to make money in order to continue to do business.
What's the first thing in business? I'm sitting here.
The customer?
Right.
Okay.
The second thing is your employees.
Okay.
And the last thing is yourself. And if you operate in that mode, I've had 3 different businesses. I had one business one time, you know Bob Newhart, the actor?
Oh, sure. He's from Chicago.
I know he is. He went to the same church I did, St. Lucy's out in Austin. I had the Shillelagh Club. All Irish kids that were going to school. Not all Irish. Newhart wasn't Irish. His father was an usher in our church. But it was a place for them to duck. They didn't want to go to bars and stuff like that. And they were all going to school, and they were all, little businesses and stuff. And they got their first parties when they were getting married and stuff like that. So that's what I used that for. And it was modeled after the club.
Okay.
You know? So the only ones that could get in were members. So that was healthy. Then I had a bowling alley with 2 Jewish guys. You know?
Can I take a picture?
Sure.
All right, you can carry on.
It's all right.
Close for it.
Anyway, we've always had a lot of action. Okay? But the foundation is spiritual. And I was telling you now, I'm no pants on. And my guys used to steal from me. They used to lie with me. One time I had 5 boats come down there, and I was at work at the sanitary district, and then I'd come down there. So the following Saturday after the Friday, I had been there on Friday night, and there were 5 boats. So when I came down there, on Saturday, I asked my guy, "Did you have any boats yesterday?" "No, nothing." I said, "Really?" He said, "No, nothing." I said, "You sure?" He said, "Do you think I'd scarf on you?" I said, "What? Scarf? What do you mean scarf? I don't understand that term." So he said, "Steal." I said, "Come on, hell no." But I said, "I'll tell you what, I've got to go downtown. Can you be patient till I get back?" I took a walk to St. Peter's. I was so fucking mad I could have hit him with a shovel. But if you let your emotions dictate your behavior, you're losing.
That makes perfect sense.
Sure. Well, you learn that through experience.
I was gonna say, you didn't learn that in,
No, you learn it with experience.
wow, that's a fascinating story.
You ain't heard nothing.
I'm sure.
So, okay, if you don't let your emotions dictate your decisions, stuff, well, what do you do in a working relationship where you're miserable? Like, say you have a client who makes you miserable, and do you just continue to work with them, or
Here,
you just move on?
you gonna listen to me a minute?
Yes, absolutely.
If you let a client, as you say,
Mhm.
unnerve you,
Mhm.
he's controlling you, son.
Mhm.
If you control you, I just told you a story about this guy that was stealing from me and denied it.
Mhm.
Did I get mad at him? When he posed the question, do you think I'd scarf on you?
Yeah.
No. I could either walk, well, for me, there was only one thing. I want to get away, go down to church, and quiet my mind. So I did that. You know? And then I came back and continued business. Now here's the point. Scott is dead. The other 2 guys that work for me, dead. Some of their children are dead. They weren't proper parents. You know? Well, that's your hobby.
What's this?
Your hobby.
No, this is my job. So,
Taking pictures?
He's taking
Yes,
pictures,
I'm-
that's his job.
I'm hired to do the job. And
You're hired to take pictures of customers?
No, there's a magazine that's doing an article on me, and they hired him to take a picture of the shop or things that we do.
Okay.
So the visual, like when you read a story, you have pictures that go with the story. That's my part of the process.
Well, yeah, I'm always fascinated with that because I don't have, I love art.
I love art,
I
too.
went to the Art Institute every week. There's hardly ever when I was younger. But I have no conception of art as far as drawing. The same with music. I could sing. I sang in choirs. I sang in operas. But I can't read a note. You know,
I'm
B
just the
flat,
opposite.
B natural, or the
Yeah.
huh?
I'm just the opposite. I read music,
Yeah.
I have a full understanding. I can't sing because I don't hear my
Well,
Here,
perfect pitch.
first. Right.
Well, something
I
like
am
that.
so far away from that I actually play. I read. Everything is fine. I can't sing because I just don't understand. I can't hear what
well,
I'm.
each person's experience is difficult. No two blades of grass are alike.
Mhm.
Now, years ago, I lived around Kedzie and Madison. Okay?
Okay.
when I was a young boy, 11 years old. We used to go see the Lone Ranger and Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon and all that. And there were 3 theaters, not more than 500 yards apart. The
Okay.
Senate, the Kedzie, and the Kedzie Annex. And I walked by this Kedzie Annex, you know, and come out of the Kedzie, went by the Kedzie Annex. And I could smell the garlic, and I hear the people chewing and this and that. And I look at Rigoletto. Well, this theater had decided, because there were so many Italians in the area, to put opera on,
Okay.
and Italian films. And I thought, I listened to this myself, even when I was a kid and didn't know nothing, because they would tell you the story of the opera in English.
Mhm.
So I decided, fuck it, I'm going in. 10 cents. That was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I didn't come out of there till 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
I saw Rigoletto a couple of times. But then I went back and I saw Pagliacci, Cavaliere Staccato. You know, so this was my introduction into that.
Mhm.
Then I did it. I got paid to sing. I got paid to sing.
Wow.
No, I did. I did opera. I opened up Rosary College's auditorium.
Really?
Yeah, the concert, me and a girl that was on television did a Sigmund Romberg concert. Felice Mooney, Project Head Start on television. She used to
Sure.
play the piano. And I loved her. I wanted to marry her. The family wasn't for that. But yeah, then I sang La Serva Padrona there, Pergolesi's opera. But my aunties were Dominican nuns.
Okay.
So they were attached to that order, and really talented nuns. One was a pianist, the other was a physicist. And she was so good, she took a graduate class with Einstein at Princeton in
Really?
1936.
Wow.
So what do you think this nunnery did with her?
I,
Stuck her teaching geometry in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
wow.
Who did she teach?
I'm trying to think who's from Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Who was the vice president just recently with Bush?
Oh, really? Dick Cheney.
Right.
He's from Wyoming.
Yes. And she taught him in school.
No kidding.
So do you see the way it works out? You think that that was a mistake, but he was a great vice president. He was probably the best that ever was, you know, because he did the work.
Mm-hmm.
Here, this guy doesn't do the work. He's out on a financial campaign.
Crazy Uncle Joe?
No, I know Obama. He used to eat lunch at the cafeteria called Valois at 46 in Hyde Park.
Oh, right, Hyde Park, sure.
And he used to go in there when he was a real estate lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to play golf at Jackson Park with my buddy. Then we stopped there, and it was a great hangout for University of Chicago guys and shit like that. So we bumped into him a couple of times, and we were impressed with his, the way he handled himself.
Mhm.
He could talk beautifully, you know. But when you have, he's a president, and the job of a president is to be like the board of directors chairman,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And just like in my business, I would bring my guys in, talk over a problem. Well, what do you think we're gonna do about this? That's a pretty good idea. Well, you don't like what I said about the other thing? You don't like that? Well, I kind of agree with you. I think maybe I was a little on the wrong side of the issue there.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, be able to negotiate. He don't negotiate. It's his way or no way. And that guy that was his pastor for 20 years,
Jeremiah Wright.
right, he had a profound influence on his thinking, and I wouldn't go near a guy like that. And just recently, Jeremiah Wright's daughter was arrested for embezzlement.
Really?
Yes. Extortion and embezzlement, okay? By the federal government.
Wow, I did not know that. I rarely watch the news, honestly. It's so depressing.
Every day, well, it's depressing because
It's all negative.
the media always slants things in the negative. If you read today's
You're right.
paper, Everything's in it, about the kids. You know, I feel terrible about those two boys that got in that problem in Boston.
Oh, yeah.
A 17-year-old kid, and they're making him out to be a fucking monster. No, there's something that isn't quite there.
You know what, my wife and I were talking about, there's something we don't know.
That's right. Because you can't have all the people around them testifying to their character as being healthy, enjoyable, pleasant to be with. You know,
Something just doesn't make sense.
no.
You know, and sadly, you have to be careful even when you say that, because it was so
The
much
country's so
media.
prejudiced. They've been
heaven
prepared
forbid-
by the media, and there is no two sides to the story, but there's got to be two sides to any story.
Heaven forbid you show the slightest bit of mercy, and people will say you're siding. But there's got to be something to that story. This kid is so young. And the part that, I did catch, I did watch this in the news. He went to a party a couple days afterwards, and nobody noticed it. You know what I mean? He just, his casual self. Now, I'll be honest with you, I run a red light. 2 days later, I'm like this. You know what I mean? I could never pull that off. Something's up.
Something doesn't
Something doesn't
match
jive.
up. Now, you saw the mother, they had her on television last night, proclaiming the innocence of her kids,
Mhm.
that she knows her children and their children would do such a thing. Well, we're caught today. Do you have a Koran?
Do I have one? No.
I've had one for 25 years. Do you have a Bhagavad Gita?
No.
That's the Hindu
Okay.
Bible, okay? And the reason I have that is because I brought in Muslims and Hindus in the engineering staff at the sanitary district. I worked there, I had a business there, went down to Nepal in night school, had 3 kids. No, I was doing all that at one, but I loved them because they weren't drunks, they weren't drug addicts, they were family oriented, and they knew their fucking business, their electrical theory. And I loved that. And I made a bridge for them to the German, Italian, Polish politicals, because that's all they are. Not too many know their business. And it worked out beautifully, such that every one of the plants is now run by one of the guys that I commissioned. See?
Isn't that something?
Yeah. Well, it's like every other thing. People don't accept that there's change. Well, you can see the change. Muslims in the world, Hindus in the world, and different cultures coming here, Mexicans, Central Americans, South American, the thing of Spanish, the preponderance of China's growth. And they're a great country. You know, South and some kind of village. China, and the communists, what the fuck are we? 47% of our people on welfare, what do you call that? Huh? And then we point the finger, hey, this country's gone south.
Yes.
It really has gone south. Point the finger at others, and here we're the most guilty bastards in the world. We bullied people, Vietnam, Korea, all these, Afghanistan, Iraq. We have no fucking business in those areas. You know? Now what are we in there? Well,
What?
no. Oil.
It's all about your will.
It's all about the opium, too.
Oh, yeah.
But they're not going to raise that up when they're
No.
and it's happening. They're putting this country to sleep with that shit.
Yeah. sadly. Sadly.
So this isn't, you don't work here?
I own the place.
Oh, you own the place?
I'm the owner.
Great.
I'm
Did I
Steve.
talk to you before?
You might have.
Huh?
You might have. I talked to
I did business with you.
Talk to me.
Pardon me?
Then you probably talked to me.
Yeah, I didn't talk to this guy.
Okay.
It's
Mike
good.
over here.
Huh?
You didn't talk to Mike, you talked to somebody else?
Yeah, but he don't know how to make the coffee, so I... Hey, nothing.
We got a one thing coffee maker
He
now.
just got it.
Yeah, we just got it a couple days ago.
He was gonna make me a cup of coffee, but he didn't quite get there.
You want a cup of coffee?
I would like it.
What do you like in it?
Black. Very good.
I am right now.
So this is your action.
This is what I do.
Did you rebuild the Volkswagen and electrify it?
That's me.
Okay, I thought there had to be somebody with some stuff.
That's me.
Yeah. Well, I relieved your boredom for the day.
What's that?
I relieved your boredom for the day.
You know what? I'm never bored.
Good. You don't sound like it.
I'm never bored. You know the old saying, it's not work if you enjoy what you do?
Love it.
I get up in the morning, jump out of bed and run here.
Yeah. Same here.
I get to listen. I just asked you, and you gave me a fantastic story. I love that. I love talking to people.
Yes,
I
you-
get that to do.
You know why you love it? You know how to listen.
2 ears, 1 mouth. It's a great ratio.
Yes, it is.
It's a great
Most
ratio.
people don't appreciate it. Man, this has been 6 nights of horror with this pain.
I bet you lay down as soon as you move.
No, it's really painful.
Oh, I'm sure.
But, you know what? Tough times make tough people. And
That's
I don't
it.
change my mind. If I get through this. Yeah, that's a good action you got.
Thanks. I had 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, I had a tooth removed. It had a broken root. And it was so painful I couldn't sleep. And I couldn't find, wow, it really hurt. After it was removed, it turned out that I had another tooth on the bottom that I needed a root canal. It was just infected, it was a dead nerve. When you say painful, I felt like 2 weeks. I couldn't lay down because my head would throb. I'd have to sleep in the chair.
I've been doing that.
I can imagine.
And watching the 3 o'clock news and all that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have to do it anyway because at my age, you're pissing off 4 times a night.
There you go. Good time. Whoop up. Move all the stuff. There you go.
You know the secret? Order.
I believe it. That's why I asked the question. You're not gonna-
If you got kids or stuff like that, they don't make the bed, they don't wash the dishes, they don't.
Discipline.
No, but you have to have a sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
And we're taking that out of our culture.
Yes, we are.
When the government is paying for everything, you lose the sense of responsibility, you lose the sense of ambition. You don't want to climb out of the hole. You just got bullshit to confront anybody, and you're taking the money and then leeching off of whoever you can.
We're replacing responsibility with entitlement. Is what we're doing.
I
I
think,
shouldn't have to do that. I deserve that.
no, this country is going south. How old are you now?
47.
Dangerous. Dangerous. Because, you know, it isn't like it was in the Depression. Today, they got absolute control of the market. And there's only
Absolute.
5% of the people that are in the market of all our population.
Mhm.
But the rest, if you just extrapolate the stock people from the rest of the population, we're in one hell of a rotten shape.
I am in total agreement with you on that.
And the money, yeah, loses its value, it's like toilet paper. And yet, on television, my God, you're gonna make $1 million. What the fuck is $1 million today? Not even piss money.
If they're going to tell you that on television,
Huh?
if they tell you that on television, that's the first thing you know that you're not going to.
No, but they make $1 million like it's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I agree with you. It's I don't know.
It's bullshit.
It is. I think our first solution is if we could get our elected officials to work together would be a big start. Each one works on stopping the other one.
Not gonna happen.
No, I know. That's never going to happen.
They're not talking about the country, they're talking about the Democrats and the Republicans. Here, they're all out for their own ass, okay?
That's right.
And, like, we don't have the insurance that Canada has.
Right.
And they've had it for 20 years.
I think they've actually had a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
They've had it longer than that.
Okay,
All
just a
right.
reminder, windshield wipers,
Oil change.
oil change, and check the brakes, and then call me if I need to do something.
Sounds
Okay?
like a plan.
All right, thanks.
No problem.
Oh, look at that. Push, 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 push.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the way to do it.
That is.
Here's the way you spell it, here's the way you yell it. That's great, that's good. You like fishing?
Love fishing.
Yeah, I assume that.
I love fishing. It's enjoyable. You know what? I've golfed probably 24 times in my life. I've fished 1 million times, and the difference to me is you can't. There's not enough time in life, my life, because with the kids, I raise kids, I run a business, that I could do both at a quality level. There's not enough time. So,
Do what you love.
well, here's the thing. I can go golf 18 holes and then come home, and my wife said, how'd you do it? And I said, I missed this shot, I missed that. How do you know? I can come home from 10 hours of fishing, catch nothing. And my wife will say, how was it? I said, oh, pretty good.
Well, that's smart. You're learning how to move the
And relax. So I love fishing because if I catch nothing,
Right.
I've had a good day.
Well, I used to do that. I used to go fishing and stuff. And you know, most golfers, most real good golfers, like the pros, they're all fishermen. Did you know that?
You get to that level, I'm sure.
Well, they love it because they usually come from fishing areas, you know?
Right. The big wide open.
You
Golf
know,
courses.
the culture is into fishing where they're raised, like Tennessee and Georgia and Florida and all of that. But no, it's healthy. Anytime you're doing something healthy.
Yeah, right. Not falling off a bar stool.